Hey, hey. Welcome everybody to Miss Glow's Kitchen, where there's sugar, spice, and everything nice, where we slice, dice, and entice, using everything we can, from peppers to allspice. What's up, my people? Y'all know what time it is? See y'all in the kitchen. A stuffed pork loin is on the menu today. So whether it's Easter, a regular day, Sunday dinner, this is a perfect meat recipe. Trust me on that one. I'm going to list what you need in the description box down below, but for now, we're going to jump straight into preparing this meat. So I've got 2 pork loins here. I'm going to move one of them out of the way, but I got 2. I got a double pack of them. I got lucky. Really lucky, too, especially with meat prices now. But anyway, we're going to sort of butterfly this. We're going to open this meat. We want to get it flat. So what you want to do is you want to go not down the middle. Don't do half. You want to do like a third. So off to the side a little bit, you want to cut a piece, but don't cut it all the way. So you want to like butterfly it. You want to cut it almost until you can lay it flat. So as soon as you can lay it flat, leave it alone. That's the best way I can explain it to you. No sooner than you're able. All right, so what I do here is I flip it over now. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to flip it over. So I'm going to work from this side. So I'm going to start close to the bottom, but not all the way. So I'm going to cut, make sure your knife is sharp. So I'm going to cut, I'm going to lay this open. Again, what we're looking for is we want to lay this meat out flat so that we can stuff it and roll it. All right? So I'm showing you right there that you will not cut all the way through. Again, you're going to start from that bottom portion. Cut very carefully. Yep, stay on top of it until you get your meat flat, just like that. Perfect. All right, so once we do that, that's what I want to show you. It needs to be able to roll up like that. This is a stuffed pork loin. So we want to be able to roll it enough so that the stuffing inside doesn't fall out. All right, cut that a little flatter there. All right, so I'm going to cut this one, then I'll come back. All right, leave it on the wax paper that it's on. I'm going to put some Sazon seasoning packets, the flavor enhancer. If you don't want to use this accent or anything like that, just go with regular seasonings, okay? I like this on my meat, so I'm using it. All right, so I'm going to press it in. I want to pat it in really well. So we want this to be seasoned good. The stuffing is good, but we want this to be seasoned very, very well. Seasoned salt. All right, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to sprinkle seasoned salt on there, and then you're going to press it down in there a little bit. So you see that beautiful, rich color right there. Unseasoned meat tenderizer. Don't use seasoned meat tenderizer. It adds more salt to your dish. You can be as liberal as you want with the unseasoned kind, so I prefer that one. Now, if you prefer to use the seasoned meat tenderizer, or that's all you have, just be careful sprinkling it, that you don't over salt your meat that you're using it on. All right. All right, so onion powder, garlic powder. Yep, can't skip those twins on the meat. We simply must have those. All right, flip it over. Same thing to the other side, the exact same thing. Easy enough. You eat both sides of the meat, right? So you want to season both sides of the meat, and that's why you don't want to over salt the other side. So you saw where I put some seasoned salt on it, but kind of sprinkled it. These pork loins, they kind of like, they're going to take on that flavor that you put on them. So if you put too much salt, you will ruin this meat. But if you don't put enough salt, then you're going to get a bland piece of meat as well. So there's a little happy medium in between there. We got a little room to work with, though. So just sprinkle on both sides, and I guarantee you it'll salt it enough. Because with the onion powder, the garlic powder, you'll get a great flavor still. So that's why I add that Sazon flavor enhancer too. I like those little packs. But it'll give it it'll bring it up to another level. And not so noticeable that it'll knock your seasonings off, where it'll change what you're tasting. So now This is good. All right, so pat all of the seasonings in, same as I did the other side. You want to pat them in really well. All right. Now we're going to work on the stuffing. All right, so I'm going to list the ingredients in the description box down below, so I'll tell you what's in this stuffing in that box, okay? All right, so if you haven't hit subscribe by now, you haven't hit subscribe, that thumbs up, do that. Hit that bell for notifications so you'll know when I put a new video up. How about that? And leave a comment. All right, parsley, fresh parsley. We want to chop this up. Now, give you a little tip. If you don't have fresh parsley, I'll guarantee you one thing. Dried parsley will work just as well. So, work just as well. This is good. This is good. So, chop it up nicely. All right, get it as fine as you can, but you still want to leave a little texture there, so you don't have to go crazy. If you've got a food processor, throw it in there, you're good. Especially one of those really little ones. I don't care for using them, but hey, I'm sure they do come in handy, and I know they save time. All right, so we got that parsley done. We're going to move on. This stuffing is very, very good. Again, with this pork loin, when you think about it, you can use the stuffing that I'm using, but you can change this stuffing. So you can use a wild rice mixture. You can use some other veggies. So you can use tomatoes, onions, and peppers or something like that. Just the sky's the limit. Just anything you think of. You can use it as a stuffing. All right. So I got some white mushrooms I need to hurry up and use. So take a look at them right there. I do that sometimes. Sometimes I leave my mushrooms. I forget I have them. I throw them in an omelet or something like that. So, all right, these are going to get cut up small. They've already been washed. That's why they were in that bag. So they've already been washed and dried. So we're going to give these kind of a rough chop. So again, you can, if you are allergic or you don't want to put mushrooms in there, you can leave these mushrooms out. It's not a necessity. So that's what I was trying to explain. This stuffing is quite easy. You can figure out anything you want to put in here, roll it up in there. It's probably going to be good. So that's why I like it. That's one piece of pork I like. Okay, again, I am going to use bacon right here. If you want to use a turkey bacon or you want to leave the bacon out and you want to use like a sausage stuffing or a breaded stuffing, you can. I'm telling you. This is good. But for me, all right, bacon, mushrooms, and parsley so far. Can't go wrong with those three, right? I know. This is absolutely great. All right, that's good. This bacon, cook this bacon down till it's nice and crispy. All right, and once the bacon is crispy, we'll move on to the next step. All right, almost there. We're going to give it a couple more minutes. And we'll have it exactly where we want it. Nice and crispy. All right, so we're going to take the bacon out. And when we take the bacon out, we're going to leave the grease from the bacon. The fat, we're going to leave it in the pan. A lot of flavor in that fat. You got to know that. Lots of flavor. So I say season every step of the way. You keep as much flavor in your dish while you're cooking as you can. Trust me, you become a better cook and your food will be so much better. It'll taste so much better. All right, don't skimp on flavor. All right, so that's already hot. Since we just got the bacon out, it's already hot. So we're just going to add our veggies to it. All right. Handful of green peppers. I just tossed a handful in there, trust me. All right, look how that's bubbling up. We'll let that cook down. So how much seasoning you add right here is going to depend on how salty your bacon is. So you do want to taste a little piece of that bacon, and if it's really salty, don't put any salt during this step. Let that fat season the veggies. Because see how I just sucked it up? So it's going to suck all of that salt up if that's what's in the pan. So you got to think of it that way. All right, so you got green peppers, mushrooms. And cook that down. So you see my bacon wasn't very salty. So I'm going to put a little bit of salt. But that's after tasting a piece of that bacon to make sure. So you want to be careful. So we're going to cook this down until these green peppers just turn like a darker green. Because they will cook some more in the pork loin while it's in the oven. So we're going to cook these until they're somewhat done. Now if you want to stir this around for a little bit and then put it in there, it's still going to work. Trust me. It's still going to cook down some. So if you're one of those people and you kind of like your veggies a little bit on the raw side, then toss them around in this fat for a little bit. And after a little bit, that's when you move on to the next steps. All right, so I put like a tablespoon of minced garlic in there. I don't know if you can see that, but after that, I let it cook down a little bit. So you can see a little bit of it in the pan right there. Just a little bit of minced garlic. I'm going to put that in the bowl because we're going to let this cool off because we need to work with it. We need to put it in that meat and then roll it up. So we're going to go burning ourselves while we're trying to do that. So, all right. So once again, a little bit of this fat is okay, but that's too much. So you can either drain this in a strainer or you can use the method I use and you can take a paper towel and just soak some of that fat up. But having a little bit of it is okay because it's going to still enhance the flavor. Not include, but it's going to enhance the flavor. All right, so a little bit in there, that's fine. All right, so add the parsley into this mixture. I'm going to add some breadcrumbs right here. Okay. All right, so put some breadcrumbs in. 1 tablespoon into that mixture is fine. Okay, so you don't want this mixture too dry. If you put too many breadcrumbs, then you're going to dry it out. And that's why I left a little bit of the fat in the bottom of the bowl. Because you will get a really, really like super stiff mixture. And we don't want it super stiff. All right. So mix that up really well. Make sure all of those breadcrumbs are coated. Make sure they're all damp. You know what I'm saying? All right, so that's it for that. We're going to push that back for a moment. All right, so we're back with that seasoned pork loin. I covered my chopping board there with some plastic, and we're going to use that, we're going to start stuffing. All right, so you want to put it, and not down the center, because we're going to roll it up, so you're going to kind of spread it out a little bit. All right, just so when we cut it, we kind of see this little circular pattern. So really pretty when you're serving. All right, so spread it out, but don't put it all the way to the edges. So you can see I left a little bit all the way around there. All right, so that ensures that we can stuff it and then tie it up without that stuffing oozing out. We don't want to do that, so. All right, sun-dried tomatoes. Yep, they're going to soften up during the cooking process, so you don't have to worry about biting into something hard in that pork loin. But this gives it such flavor. I like the flavor of sun-dried tomatoes. All right. Look at that. Yes. It's going to be so good. Okay, so that with the other stuffing, that gives it a wonderful, wonderful flavor, as opposed to using regular tomatoes. All right, so very, very carefully roll this. Now you want to keep tucking as you're rolling so you can see. Wouldn't have been good today for me to have nails on because I need to roll and tuck. Look at that. Stuff that stuffing back in there. Look at that. That is exactly what we want right there. Yep. Now, here you can either use toothpicks or if you have twine, you can tie it. So it's really going to be up to you. There's no right or wrong way to do it right here. We just want to keep the stuffing inside of the meat while it's baking. All right. Everybody ties different. I'm not a professional, so I'm going to tie this the way that I know how to tie it. The goal is to keep my stuffing inside of that pork loin. So right now I'm not worried about tying beautifully. It's not necessary. I just want to hold it. Hold it in. All right, so I'm going to put this around. And after I put this string around, we're going to warm up some oil, heat up some oil in a pan, and we're going to brown it before we put it in the oven. So let's move on to that right now. So I've heated some oil in a pan, but let me tell you something. If you have an air fryer, you can put this in the air fryer. Just spray it with a little olive oil. Keep watching it till your internal temperature, until your meat is done. So let's put it that way. All right, you can put this on the grill. It's another way to do it. Light up your grill, baby. Grill it on direct heat. Move it over and put it on indirect heat, but make sure you keep your meat moist. Don't let it dry out on that grill, okay? Now what we want to do here is we want to brown this. We want to brown it on all sides. So after we brown it on all sides, just want to show it to you in the pan. But after we brown it on all sides, I'm going to come back. And so look at that. We have a nice caramelized color on there. If you want to brown yours a little darker, yep, you can. It's pretty much okay. Just don't burn it. So look at that. All right. So that one's not stuffed. I put that in there, but I just want to show you if you want to do it without the stuffing. Absolutely. It's a pork loin for sure. Right? All right. So after it's browned, we're going to use you can use either white wine, or it's perfectly okay to use water at this point, or either you can use a vegetable stock. All right. So you want to put it in there, the bottom of the pan, just a little bit. And then I want to show you, you want to cover it up like this. And then you want to put it into a 350-degree oven. All right, so we're going to start off with 30 to 45 minutes, and then we'll start checking. All right, after that, we're going to let that meat rest for like 5 minutes, and then we'll cut it. So after you cut it, as you can see, I'm laying it on a platter right there. So I'm getting it prepared for serving. No need to show you how to cut it up, because you're going to cut it as thick or as thin as you like. So that's why I just showed that, but then skip that part. You'll do it the way you want to do it. Your kitchen, your rules. All right. So check that pork loin out. That looks delicious. Yep, all that on that cutting board down there. For presentation purposes, I put the whole pieces over there. But those pieces, I ate those. I can tell you that right now. Yes, I did. This is so good. Alright, so I stuck some parsley on the side of it for serving purposes, but y'all better go make this. Thanks for watching, everybody. See y'all next time. For more great recipes, tips, and ideas, check out some of my other videos.